Artie Hoffman. Artie has been a master level psychic and comedian and spiritual advisor for over 3 decades and has helped change the lives of thousands of individuals who have turned to him for answers and guidance. His strong faith and natural intuitiveness, coupled with his ability to provide emotional understanding, makes him the preeminent spiritual therapist with foresight. All right, Artie, thank you for joining me.
It's my pleasure.
So you are a world-renowned psychic, psychic to the stars. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I've read put it this way, not all my clients are stars. Most of them aren't, but I have read for a few stars.
Yeah.
Or I'll say famous people. If you call the Sopranos famous, I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, probably. All right. So the first question I have for you is, at what age did you realize that you had a stronger than normal perception of people?
27.
Yeah. How did that happen?
Yeah. I got a postcard in the mail. I didn't have jack crap before that. I was very frustrated in my life, and I'm having a little conversation with God. And I said to God, I need answers. I need clear answers. I said, please don't scare the hell out of me when you give me the answers. I mean, I had everything going right in my life at that time too. I really did. It's just, I felt empty inside. I mean, my job was great. I was married at the time, living in a nice house, lots of friends, the whole 9 yards. Her family loved me. My family loved her. It's like everything, but I still felt very unfulfilled inside. So I was asking God to, bring me something. I didn't know what. And I got a postcard in the mail like a day or two later. And in the postcard, it said, how would you like to develop your psychic ability and intuitiveness? Come to the Edgar Cayce Foundation for this 1 weekend seminar in Virginia Beach. So I looked at it. I asked my wife, who was my wife at the time, I said, this looks pretty interesting. You want to go with me? She goes, I don't give a shit about that. You can go if you want. I don't want to go. So I went away to that 1 weekend seminar, and it literally changed my life forever. And it was quite interesting. There was 50 of us from all different parts of the country at the seminar in one large room. And, they got you in that Zen mode, and they said, when we break it into little groups, whatever person you're with, just share your thoughts with them and don't judge it. Just whatever feelings you get off of them, just share it. So people were telling me I was pretty accurate, and I was kind of blown away that I could tell people about themselves, as people were doing the same to me. And I said, cut the shit. No, I'm only kidding. And I said, it was just, I found it amazing. So after that weekend, I was so like jacked up with excitement. And I went home and I got myself a deck of spiritual cards. And I was reading for friends and family for a few years. And it was pretty cool. And yeah, so again, like I said, people were telling me I was pretty accurate. So I got to a point in my life where I needed to make some extra money other than the job that I was doing. I have my own, I have another business that I do besides, I do my psychic stuff full time, but I have another business that I own full time for the last 41 years. And you'll appreciate the name of it. It's called Peeping Tom's Window Cleaning.
I like that.
Yeah, and on my card it says binoculars not included.
That's great.
So
I do like that.
Besides having that business, which I still have, yeah, I do my psychic and spiritual stuff, and I traveled all over the country, and I do parties, and I've done events, and here it is 33 years later, and over 33,000 people I've read for. And so it's been pretty cool. So like I was saying, I got to a point in my life where I needed extra money for investment purposes, and I needed to come up with it pretty fast. So I didn't know what else to do other than I'm sitting on my couch, and I'm thinking, what the hell else can I do to make a living, to bring up extra cash other than what I'm doing for a living. I said, I know how to do readings. So I threw an ad in the paper, and it said, if I don't pull through, no charge. So I would say about 90% of the people paid me, and the other 10% I had to kill. No, the other 10%, whatever. But no, through word of references from people I've read for, and a little more advertising, a whole career came out of it. So it worked out pretty well. And I wrote 2 books. One is called Angels and Answers, which describes a lot about the depth of life itself on a very deep spiritual level. So if you want to know why bad things happen to good people and why good things happen to bad people, if you want to have a little deeper understanding about God and the Holy Spirit, the angels, or about heaven, you'll read the book. I talk about deep subjects, but I explain things very, very simplistically because my mind thinks very simplistically. And then I wrote another book called Have Your Angels Call My Angels.
That just recently came out, right?
Yeah. And Have Your Angels Call My Angels. That's more about relationships. It's to build up your own self-esteem. And it's a relationship between yourself and your kids, yourself and your lovers, yourself and coworkers, yourself and God and angels. It's about you having a better understanding on how to understand other people, but yet also create healthy boundaries for yourself.
No, I understand that a lot. I used to work in the mental health field, and boundaries from trauma and when you're trying to fix yourself are very important.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. But a lot of people, they give so much of themselves that they don't know when enough is enough, and then they don't understand why their lives suck, because they give so much of their time, energy, and money over to other people that they don't leave enough for themselves.
Yeah, what's the old adage? You can't fill from an empty cup.
Yeah. So you can't keep on giving if you're not taking care of yourself. So I tell a lot of people, how can you expect to be first if you're always putting yourself last?
That's fair. That's good advice, honestly.
And it's the truth. And a lot of people are a victim of it. And then they wonder why their life sucks. And it's because you're making everybody else's karma your karma, because you get so invested and involved in other people's energy. There's a difference between assisting somebody to try to help them out and then overly getting involved in someone's life where it totally takes you off the quality of your life.
Yeah, and those of us with a helping spirit tend to not know how to rein it in sometimes.
Yeah. So like I said, it's all about, it's nice to be kind to other people. It's the number one spiritual thing that you could do. It's like the most, beautiful thing that you could do, if you want to call it religious thing or spiritual thing. It's not just prayer, it's being kind to your fellow man. That's like the top, what you could, as far as being spiritual, as far as being a good person. But at the same token, you don't want it. Sometimes people will give so much of themselves where they feel entitled to be that person's boss or try to control them. Because I do so much for you, I have say on what's going on in your life, and you should do this or you should do that. Or on the flip side, you don't want people to become so dependent on you because you've helped them out so much, where they ask you for their every move.
Yeah, there's a fine line.
There's a fine line with that. And you don't want to be responsible for other people's life or decision making all the time. I mean, yes, some people need insightful advice. I mean, and as a psychic, a medium, a spiritual counselor, life coach, yeah, I do help a lot of people, but I help them with a healthy perspective where they could see their life more clearly on what they're dealing with. I'll tell them, based on what I see for them, what I feel the healthiest move is for them to make, or what they should do, or to heal their heart when I connect to a loved one. so that they could start sleeping better at night, knowing that their loved ones are okay, or that they're sending them a message. And, once people cross over, once people pass away, they're not hurting. People who pass away from cancer or Lou Gehrig's disease or some other kind of painful death or whatever, the moment your soul leaves the body, all pains go away instantly. You don't carry the burden of pains at all. You
Yeah.
move on with your life. So the people never die. No one ever dies. It's the body that dies. And then the soul, which is who you are, your soul is renting your body. And then once your body is retired, that's the part that dies. But then the soul, who you are, lifts up out of the body, and then you're in a different dimension. You're not staying in the same dimension here on Earth. You share your energy with Earth to be with your loved ones, but you're also a part of the spiritual world now too.
Well, I've always felt that the Buddhists were probably the ones that had it the closest to right. Is you're one with everything, and everything's one with you. You have an effect on your environment around you, but the plants, the animals, the people, and they have an effect on you. We're all kind of tied together, whether we like to admit it or not.
Yeah, our ego thinks that we're separate from everybody, but on a soulful level, we're all connected, is the truth. It's like the metaphor that I use, and I do say this in my book. It's like you're at the ocean. All right. You're standing on the beach, and each one of us represents a drop of water that's within the ocean. Each drop of water carries the DNA of the entire ocean. The understanding and the life of ocean is in every drop of water. When you look at the big picture, though, of the whole ocean is God, but each one of us is a drop of water. So those people who separate themselves from God or from angels or from society, and they live, most of them, if not just about all of them, but most of them live a very angry life or a very resentful life because they've disconnected themselves from the source. So if you were to take, I'll give you an example. So here I have this cup, right? This is my cup of tea. But if I was to be in the ocean and I scoop up, all right, I scoop up water from the ocean. The water that was once a part of the ocean is now in the cup. The water that's in this cup is now powerless because it's no longer a part of the whole big force of nature, a force of God, because you separated yourself. So if you take the water and throw it right back into the ocean, now you have the beauty and the energy of the spirit and of God all working in your favor again. So, and even though your life might suck here or there about this, that, and the other thing, it's like there was something beautiful that I thought of today, and there's a post. It was about God and evil. It's about like when your life is being very challenged, okay, is it that God is testing you, or is it the negative force of life challenging you?
Yeah.
And so when your life is being very challenged by negative forces or negative circumstances, that's when you need God the most, or that's where blind faith comes in. And that's where, but a lot of people blame God for what has happened to them, rather than understanding that a lot of times it's the negative forces of life that's put you in these very challenging circumstances. So when you're still allowing yourself to keep the sense of your integrity going, allowing yourself to be your higher good, even when things are going against you, then eventually you will come out the victor, because good will always outweigh the evil. Evil will keep on overtaking your life so long as you keep on giving it energy.
Well, I think too, and this is my personal belief, give you at least a heads up. I'm a skeptical believer. I fall into that category. Like I've seen enough that makes me think that there's something, but I haven't seen enough that I'm ready to full bore swing that needle. But the one thing that I
Well, what
think,
is it that you're skeptical about?
just a lot of what I'm told, honestly. You know, like I'm I used to be atheist. Then I swung agnostic. And then I went more omnist. As I've gotten older, my understanding has changed and grown, of the spiritual world. Plus, being in an accident when I was a kid kind of knocked me into the realm of sensitive. Um, I get impressions. I guess is the best way to say it. If I there I feel people's energy.
Premonition? You saw
Yeah,
the
yeah, like I feel people's energy. Like I don't shake hands. I don't touch a lot of people because I feel the negative. Well, I feel the good, but I feel a lot of the negative energy that's on people, and I just don't like it. I don't go to graveyards either because I don't like how it feels. It's like bugs crawling under my skin. I don't like it. And this all came about after I was in a serious accident when I was a kid. Um, but what I was getting at though is the fact that I fully believe that we don't take enough personal responsibility for some of our actions at times. And so when you said that people blame God for the bad things that happen to them, and then it's the negative forces of the world, you know, challenging them or whatnot, sometimes I feel people do bring that on themselves with their actions and the way they treat others. I believe in karma.
Well, 100%. Everything that you have in life, you've desired, because all of your actions have created exactly what you have in your life right now. Whether you think it's great or whether you think it sucks, you know, all the negativity, all the great things, whatever you have in your life, all of your actions have led you to exactly where you are right now, with the people you associate with, your job, your relationships, the things in your life. You've created it all, and it was through your will that God, you know, through your will is God's will. It's not just always, well, if it's within God's will, so it will happen. If it's within God's will, I believe those are things that are out of your control, if it's within God's will. But when it has to do with your personal life, God gives you free will to make your choices. So if you want to live your life through evil means, then again, it's free will. It's not bad or good. It's just an experience, but you'll always reap whatever it is you put out there. And so if you want to live a more wholesome life, or more peaceful life, or serenity life, then you need to create the atmosphere to be that. But you can't live your life like a jackass and expect to, you know, have the benefits of somebody who's, you know, more together or more wealthy, whether it be in love or money.
Yeah.
It's all your choices is what brings you to where you are right now.
Yeah, I feel like for the listeners that'll hear this, I feel like life is sometimes like a choose your own adventure book without the benefit of being able to go back if you make a mistake.
Wait, say that again. Choose.
I said I feel like life sometimes is like a choose your own adventure book without the benefit of being able to go back if you make a mistake.
You could correct a mistake. You can't go back to the
Yeah.
past, but you can make corrections or make healthier choices. That's, you know, it's funny. I bought a funny saying that was on a towel. It was on a kitchen towel, and it said, "I've learned so much from my own mistakes in life that I was thinking about making some more."
No, it's my philosophy in life is never be afraid of failure because we don't learn anything from success.
Yeah, we reap from success,
But we
you
don't
know.
learn.
Yeah, but that's okay, because even though I'm very spiritual, I like to bask in the happiness of success. I like
Yeah.
to bask in the happiness of joy and all that good stuff. So there's nothing wrong. There's a lot of people who feel very unworthy or put a negativity to money, to success, to happiness. It's like, it's because they feel like they don't deserve it, or they feel like everything you get comes with blood, sweat, and tears. But it's like playing basketball. You might have to wait 5 or 6 minutes until you finally score the next 2 points. But then sometimes it happens in a nanosecond where you could score the point right away, and you didn't have to work as hard for it. It just comes to you because life circumstances led you up to have a gimme. So
I'll be
you can't
honest with
live
you.
your life. You can't live your life for gimmies, but it's well appreciated when it's given to you.
I'll be honest with you. I'm living through one of those moments right now because things have started happening with the show that I'm still kind of gobsmacked about. I'm just sitting back like, oh, okay, you know, here we go. You know, I'm a very, I hate to say it, I'm a very negative person because I expect things to go wrong and I'm distrustful when they go right.
Okay, well then God is answering your prayers, because if you're expecting things to go wrong, then he doesn't disappoint you, because those are your expectations.
Yeah,
if that's your will.
I'm learning to stop that, and it's a process, but you know, I've got a good support group behind me, kicking me in the ass and telling me, no, stop it. You're gonna end up screwing it up just with your own negativity. And I'm like, oh okay.
So I'm gonna give you a wonderful saying that I think you'll appreciate. How can you expect? So you're trying to accomplish certain things, but yet you have negative thoughts. So what I would say to you is, how can you expect to make chocolate cake with vanilla ingredients?
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
No, I get you 100%.
You know, so it's almost like you almost are fighting against, if you go with the tide, if you go with the rhythm of life, if you go with believing, and things will happen, it's almost like you are purposely trying to self-sabotage so you could say, see, I told you, nothing ever goes right. But you're setting yourself up with the energy for it to be sabotaged. So when you have the blessings of things going right for you, by being grateful and by nurturing the rhythm of life when things are going your way, things will continue to go your way. Things will continue to blossom. You know, but if you have healthy seeds and say, here, let me see if I can make this grow. Well, if you put it in contaminated soil or on cement, you're going to say, see, it didn't grow. Well, yeah, well, put it in a healthy environment and then you'll see it grow.
I'm very much learning to get out of my own way.
Yeah. So basically what I would say to you is stop self-sabotaging and, you know, go with it. You know, it's like you have so much anger and resentment. It's like you're choosing, you're personally choosing to remain as a victim, or to play yourself as a victim, rather than being appreciative of everything you've got going on. Because what will happen, that if you don't start acknowledging or appreciating the blessings in your life, it will be taken away. And then you're going to say, oh, damn, I could have had this, or I should have had that, or wow, that would have been great. I had it all. And now because of the way I acted or the way I treated people or situations, I lost it all. You know, there's a part in my book where, you know, you have, I discuss about people who are addicts, whether it be alcohol or drugs, and they lost, or gambling or whatever, and they lost everything. They lost their job, they lost their health, they lost their family. And now when they're totally annihilated with life, that's when they'll call for God, say, oh God, please help me, please help me. And God will be there for you. And God says to you, you didn't have to lose everything to know that I was with you all along. You didn't have to wait to this point, you know, for you to know that I was here all along. You didn't have to all of a sudden become religious or to acknowledge me at that point. I mean, what is it going to take for you to acknowledge or to appreciate? You don't have to wait until you hit rock bottom for this acknowledgement, for this blessing, whatever you want to call it, you know? So, you know, and some people just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And then people will say, God, why did you let me go this way? Well, so long as you had the resources to keep on going in that direction, I let you go because that was your free will. Now that you've run out of all your resources for you to attain your negative actions, so long as you had the will and the resources to keep on going, I let you go because that was your free will. But once you no longer have your health, your family, your friends, the money, so when you have nothing, then you go, oh God, I need your help. Oh God. That's when people become religious. That's when they acknowledge God, where they don't, where they have absolutely nothing else going on and they lose everything, you know.
Yep.
Or you could remain bitter and angry and you could just stay that way, and misery loves company. So what are you trying to prove by remaining negative or remaining angry? Well, like, what are you trying to prove? You know, because you've had a little challenging in life, it doesn't mean that you're being, a lot of times when we're having to deal with vulnerabilities, it makes you stronger. It does make you stronger. It makes you wiser. It makes you, it could definitely make you a better person. A lot of times we, you know, in my upbringing, you know, I had two parents that were very opposite. I had a father who was not as supportive as I would like. He was very arrogant. He could be very mean at times emotionally. And then on the flip side, so he taught me a lot what love is not. He loved in his own way, but he taught me a lot of what love is not. Whereas my mother, she taught me all about what love is. She was a very unconditional person. So there's two different ways that you could learn about life. You could learn what love is through what love is not, and then do the opposite of what love is not. Or you could learn, if you're blessed enough to have wonderful surroundings of people in your life, that you know what love is by case of example, you know? So I wrote my father a letter thanking him for being my dad. I said, because of you, I learned what not to do. And it's not by so much of his words of what he said, but the way he lived his life. And when I saw somebody cause so much pain to so many people, I would say, there's no way I would want to be the cause of people's bad feelings or ill feelings. I wouldn't want, you know, all I want to do is try to help people or make people happy or what can I do? But not to a point where I'm putting myself behind the 8 ball to help somebody else out. You know, I mean, I've taken chances with people to help people, but not at the point where it's a life changer for me, you know.
No, I get you.
I've learned that through other people's experiences, though. But so many people, like I said, I've read for over 33,000 people, and so many people say, Artie, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money, or I have very little money. And intuitively, I know that they have a decent amount. It's just that they give so much away, or they've taken on so many responsibilities with their close friends or family members that, yeah, of course, you don't have enough money because you're giving it so much of it away so that other people aren't responsible for their life. You're being too responsible for other people's lives. So it kind of sets you back. So when you're not respecting the energy of money, or respecting yourself, or respecting God, or respecting, it will come back and bite you in the ass.
Well, you mentioned all the people that you've helped, and that actually brings me to my next question. You've helped so many people. Is there any one or maybe two or three particular readings or experiences that have brought you a sense of pride for being involved with?
Oh God, yeah. It's my favorite reading of 33,000 people. It's my favorite reading. A guy calls me up and he sounded very depressed on the phone. And usually, you know, it takes a little while to see me, but the guy sounded very depressed. And he says, Art, I really need to see you. He says, I'm in a very low place in my life. I said, all right, come to my place tomorrow and I'll talk to you. So he comes into my place, very nice man, and I sit down and I started to explain to him, no, I never know what I'm going to say to someone. With each reading, I don't know what I'm going to say because nothing's ever prepped. You know, it is
Right.
what it is. So the guy sits down and I automatically start talking to him about the meaning of life. And then I started talking to him about the meaning of his life and what he can do. And I gave him a healthier perspective about himself and about life itself. After I was finished with the reading, I wasn't really giving him a prediction of what I see things for him, but I was giving him an understanding. And that's what he needed to hear, an understanding about his life and life itself. After the reading was over, he gave me a big hug and he says, Art, he goes, you saved my life. Now, a lot of people say cliche, well, you know, you saved my life or you're a lifesaver or thank you. He goes, no, you literally saved my life. And I go, how's that? He goes, I wrote a suicide note and I was going to kill myself tomorrow morning. He says, but after talking to you, you gave me a healthier perspective. And now I want to live. I'm going to make some changes in my life. I'm going to live now. So I saved someone's life. So yeah, so that's something that, you know, was amazing. There was another lady, she said to me, says, Art, did a reading for her. She said, what do you see for me and my boyfriend? You know, as far as our life together or whatever. So, you know, again, I go into my la la land. I was telling her what I felt, what I saw was going to happen. And I said, oh, don't worry. I says, you're going to have a comfortable life together and blah, blah. I forgot the details of exactly what I told her, but I basically told her that, you know, she was going to have a very healthy life with her boyfriend. So 6 months later, she came in to see me. Now, mind you, I don't remember who I read. I don't remember. I mean, unless if there's something really extreme about the person or extreme reading, but I don't remember what I say to people or who I met. So this lady comes back 6 months later and I didn't remember reading her. So I started, you know, to do a reading and for her, and she stopped me and she says, Art, she goes, this is a picture of my boyfriend. She goes, he just died recently, a few weeks ago. And you told me that we were going to have a long, healthy life together. What happened? So I was very upset and angry that the angels gave me this perception of what I told her, because I told her what I felt was the truth. So I sat there for a moment because I didn't know what I felt bad. I felt really bad for her. And I felt bad that I didn't give an accurate reading at that point. So I asked the angels and I was very upset with them. I was upset with them. I go, why did you tell me this? And so I sat there for a few moments, for about a minute. And I looked at her and I said, the last 6 months of your life with your boyfriend, because he was an extremist. He died in an accident. He was an extremist. He liked to live life on the wild side and stuff. You know, he was like an Evel Knievel type person.
Yeah,
Right.
adrenaline junkie.
Exactly. And he bit the bullet. So I said to her, what was the last 6 months of your life when you saw me with him? What was it like? She says, oh my God, it was the best. We laughed almost every day. We went out a lot. We made love almost every day. She goes, it was great. It was really good. I was so happy. I said, so if I was to tell you that he only had 6 months to live, what do you think you would have been like? And she says, I would have been a nervous wreck. I would have been crying every day. I would have, you know, she goes, it would have been terrible. I said, so what would you have rather have? Me telling you that he only had 6 months to live, or telling you what you enjoyed the last 6 months rather than being a nervous wreck? And that was the answer. So, you know, there's a song by Garth Brooks, some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. So when you think you want to know something, or when you think you want to have something, there's a reason for the delay or not to know. You think you want to know everything and you don't.
No, that makes total sense. There's a few things in life where I found out ahead of time how things were gonna go, and yeah, I kind of wish I hadn't. So I get it. My next question for you: how do you handle critics and skeptics?
Easily. I don't handle them at all. I treat them like everybody else. Everyone has their their thoughts, their opinions. And I'll tell you a really interesting story that you're going to appreciate. So here I am, my wife and I, when I was married at the time, my wife and I, we went to see a comedy show. And actually we saw Paul Reisner perform as a comedian. And we went across the street to a steakhouse afterwards. And there was a table right next to us. It was her and I, just her and I at this double table, at this single table. And right next to me, and she had to go to the bathroom, right next to me, there was a group of people there. There's about 8 of them. And they were, I would say they were in their 40s, 50s. And so the one girl asked me a question and I answered her question, and she goes, and I forgot what the question was, but she says, well, what do you do for a living that, you answered the way you did? I said, well, I'm a psychic and I'm a medium. That's what I do. She goes, really? So of course she just told the whole table. And then of course there's a guy at the end of the table. Oh, that's all bullshit. That's all bull crap. That guy, John Edward, Teresa Caputo, they have people in the audience before they go to their shows that just pay attention and listen. They Google, they get things on the email and they Google that quickly with information, and then they call the shots, whatever. So he says, so the guy said, I'm really skeptic about all that crap. He goes, I really don't believe in it. And I said, okay, well, you can believe however you want to believe. He says, well, you think you could read me? I said, I don't know. Maybe I could, maybe I can. I think I could. He says, all right, well, read me then. So anyway, he comes over. I said, come over here. So he comes on over. I said, can I hold on to your keys or your jewelry? And so he gave me his keys, and then I took off. No, I'm not kidding. He gave me his keys, and I'm holding on to it because I'm holding on to his energy, so I get premonitions.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you're looking for a piece of jewelry right now, a very expensive piece of jewelry, and it's missing, and you're freaking out about it right now. And I said, and I don't see it coming back. And he goes, it's funny you should say that. He says, just yesterday I had my mother's diamond ring sitting on the windowsill in my bathroom, and it's gone. I don't know where it is. I said, did you have workers in your house? He goes, yeah, I have some construction guys doing some work in my house. I said, one of them took it. They stole it. I said, you're not going to get it back. He goes, how did you know that? I said, it was easy. I just looked up on the internet. I just Googled it. So he goes, that's amazing. He goes, can you do it again? Because he's still having a hard time. He still wants to defy me. So I said, all right, well, let me hold on to your keys again. So I held on to his keys. I said, you're going to be deciding on what insurance papers. I said, you're looking to switch insurance companies. I don't know if it's health insurance or car insurance, but you're supposed to switch insurance companies. He goes, it's strange you should say that. He goes, earlier today, my boss just handed all of us a contract for a new insurance company. Either we could stay with the old one or we can go with the new one that they have a contract with, his company. I said, you want to switch with the old, you want to switch to the new one. It's better than what you have. He goes, how did you know that? I said, I told you, I Googled it.
That's great though. And I love those moments too, because I've even had sorry. I love those moments too, because I've even had a few of them over the course of my life where I thought I was going to be a smartass and had it turned around on me. So it's good. Like I said, I'm a skeptical believer when it comes to a lot of different things, and the spiritualism and the psychics and the mediums, that's one of the realms. I know that there are some out there that are very predatory, and I know that there are some out there which seems like you're one of them, that it's honest, it's true, and it comes from a good place.
See, when I look at you right now, I see you flexing your muscles and you say, I don't need anybody. I could do it on my own. I could do it on my own. And I see you saying, I'm strong. I'm strong. I don't need anybody. I can do it. I can do it, you know? And so many times that you've tried to prove that you're strong enough to do things on your own. It's not until you fall, until you finally realize, all right, can you help me out? Or somebody say, would you like my help?
Yeah.
And it's those moments where your tail is between your legs and that makes you more angry or more upset rather than appreciating. And then you go into this pickle puss mood and people are trying to be nice to you and you're just angry because your perception is no longer working. And so you get upset, you get angry because what you've always believed in, you're being proven differently. And that upsets you rather than saying, well, okay, I guess you're right. I guess you're right. Little by little, you are starting to open up more, though, to new ideas, to new thoughts, and new avenues. You're still not completely there yet because you've been conditioned your whole life to be a certain way. So yeah, eventually you'll get with the program. You just haven't haven't gotten a few lumps. You need a few more lumps on your head to actually understand it more.
You're absolutely correct. I come from a very a troubled home, a very hurtful childhood, and I had to learn to rely on myself. And whereas that is a very good skill to know, it is also a very bad skill to rely on all the time. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I often feel that I am the only one that can get it done the right way. And if I have to ask for help, I am very mad at myself because I couldn't get it done.
Right. You have to understand this, and hopefully you can remember this for the rest of your life. If somebody so wonderful that comes into your life, or something so wonderful that comes into your life, if it wasn't meant for you to have, it never would have presented itself to you. And you have to understand that. So God does have a lot of compassion for you because of all the challenges that you had to go through. So God will throw you a bone and say, okay, I know how inside you're a really good person. Your style has a lot to be desired, but inside you are a good person. Your inner child is just hurt. Your inner child is scarred, but you're a really good person. So, and God knows that. So that's why you do have these blessings that come to you, but it will only grow that much better or faster for you when you give more appreciation and acknowledgement. So for you to say, I need to do everything on my own. So if you need legal help, you go to a lawyer. Your car breaks down, you go to a mechanic. You want a house, you go to a builder. So everybody has different gifts of what they bring to the table for you. So you could construct your life on who or what's in your life, but allow each individual to play their own part that could benefit you. So if you own a football team or a baseball team, you are not going to play all positions.
Correct.
Everybody has their gift. The quarterback has his gift. The running back has their gift. The tight end has their gift. The wide receiver has their gift. The pitcher and the catcher has their gift at what they're good at. It's not that you could play all the positions, and you need to know your limitations and give the ball into the hands of people who are very respectful. Once people have proven their respect to you, have proven their loyalty to you or their skill to you, that's when you need to say, okay, I'll give you the chance, I'll give you the shot. Just because somebody starts off fantastic, it doesn't mean they're going to remain in that position, because unfortunately there are people that are wolves in sheepskin.
No,
you know what I,
yeah.
you know what I mean by that?
Yeah. I fully believe that some people come into your life, they're either a lesson or a blessing.
Well, even a lesson is a blessing, you know? So it's like, I mean, I understand where you're going with that, but yeah, so all of life is interesting. And every single person in life has an interesting story, even if it comes from the same family. The youngest, the middle child, the oldest, the men, the women, they all will have their different perspective of what they've experienced in that family. You'll have different stories from everybody.
Yep.
Everybody has an interesting story. It's not right, it's not wrong, it's their experience, it's their story. So it's interesting to listen to what other people have to say
That's
about life.
that's why I got into doing this. Is I love storytelling. I love the art form of storytelling. I love hearing the experiences and things that people have. My dream is to be able to travel the country and just collect stories, for either books or for radio, like podcasts and stuff like this. So yeah, you're absolutely correct. My next question: being an empath and a spiritual antenna can be draining. How do you recharge? Or in a better way of saying it, what's your self-care routine?
I say my prayers every day for protection. I ask for blessings from my guardian angels. This is the blessing. This is the prayer that I say every single day. We all have guardian angels around us 24/7, at least two of them, whether you acknowledge that or not, but we do. And so my prayer is this: I call upon all my loving guardian angels. Thank you for intervening into my life. You have to ask your angels to intervene into your life because of your free will. They're not allowed to intervene into your life if you don't ask them to come into your life or to help you with a something, because it is your free will. The only time an angel can come into your life without you asking, if you're in a do or die situation and it's not your time to go, they will come in to save you so that you can continue your life's journey. So I call upon all my loving guardian angels. Thank you for intervening into my life today, creating peace, harmony, balance, and serenity. Thank you for all the beautiful blessings and miracles you wish to share with me today. I graciously accept it all. And thank you for all your loving white light, love, and protection over myself, my friends, my daughter, my family. Thank you very much. And that's it. And so when shit hits the fan, or if something, God forbid, happens, I choose not to get overly zealous about it. I just allow life to play itself out, and things usually work itself out in the end. And, my antennas are always down. The only time, when I want to read somebody is when I want to turn it on, and the angels will give me the messages, or loved ones will give me messages right away, because I'm now asking for it in my thoughts. I'm asking for it. But in my own protection, when I ask for the loving white light protection, my antennas are always down. So when I'm out in the restaurants, the mall, the beach, wherever in public, I don't care to know other people's business or garbage, or, I'm just myself being me. And then, like I said, when I want to entertain or when I want to read people, then I just say, okay, what's up? And then all of a sudden, boom, they pull through.
Well, someone's definitely in your ear because you read my ass like a book. So,
So,
how can people or society as a whole take a step to becoming more mindful of their center and their spiritual well-being?
reading books. Reading books will help. If you want to go to self-help books, there's certain spiritual advisors. Dr. Wayne Dyer, he passed away a couple of years ago. Very good. Brian Weiss, if you want to know what it's like in between lives, really good book. Many Lives, Many Masters, or Journey of the Souls. That's written by Brian Weiss. And he was a psychotherapist, and he would bring people down, in a trance. He would hypnotize people, and people would be describing what it's like when they're in between lives. There is life after death. There is reincarnation. And so these people were consistently, when they were down under, being, hypnotized, whatever you want to call it, they would explain their experience, and they were all very similar. They all had their own individual experiences, but yet the overall atmosphere they were describing as being very much so the same, the feeling or the atmosphere. Very, very interesting book. If you did meditations, when you connect to your higher self, if you do yoga, if you do Pilates, it helps you connect with your higher self, with more of your soul and your spirit. It's like anything in life. The more you do anything, the more you practice anything, the better you get at it. It's not that I'm better than anybody else because I do what I do. It's just that after I had a taste of this psychic stuff or medium stuff, it was just something of a fluke that happened to me. I know everything's a meant to be, but for argument's sake, it was a fluke. And I was so fascinated by it, I just ran with it. And I just said, wow, this is too cool. And then lo and behold, because I had such a passion and desire, when you ever have a passion or a desire for something or someone or a relationship, usually it will manifest itself one way or the other. And it will go as far as you want it to go, so long as you keep that passion up, so long as you believe. There are people who are really good at buying nice cars, and then there are people who are good at buying car dealerships. It just depends how big your mind is to how vast you want to experience life. And if you there are some people who start off with a head start in life, whether it be monetary, whether it be with a healthy family, whether it be sport abilities. And then there are other people who have to work their ass off to get there, but
I think
everybody has their own journey of how to get to wherever it is they want to be.
I'm a big believer in run your own race.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a moment during a reading where you were just completely blindsided?
Blindsided in what way? Like when you say blindsided? I mean, I know what you mean, but what do you mean in detail?
Like you were shocked at what came out.
Yeah. It was that story that I told you before, when I told the lady that, I thought she was her and her boyfriend were going to be together forever. And then 6 months later, or less than 6 months later, he ended up dying. Or actually it was, about that. And I was shocked. Oh, a really cool story that you're going to appreciate. So here I am. I do parties. I call them Artie parties. People hire me to go to their homes and I read for their friends and family, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So here I am. I'm in a finished basement. That's where the lady who was having the party had her guest. He wanted me to read her in her finished basement while everybody was upstairs. So a lady comes down. She's probably about 10 years older than me. And she says, Art, before you start, she goes, I have to tell you, she says, you read for me here 2 years ago at this party. And I don't remember her, and I don't remember what I said. She goes, and you said to me that I need to start playing the lottery, or I need to go to Atlantic City because you saw me winning tens of thousands of dollars. And I told you that I'm not a gambler. And I never gambled. I don't gamble. She goes, and I still don't gamble. She goes, but you saw me winning tens of thousands of dollars. She goes, 6 months later after that reading was my birthday. And I had my boys, she had 3 sons, come over to my house to help celebrate my birthday. And one of my boys bought me 5 $2 birthday scratch-offs. And her first $2 happy birthday scratch-off, she won $50,000.
Wow.
So That was pretty amazing. I've given over 100 winning lottery numbers to people. Pick threes, pick fours, not like, cash, the Powerball and stuff. If people ask me for the number, I can't do it. I just can't. But if I'm doing a reading and it just pulls through me naturally, then yeah, I could, it just, when loved ones who have passed away say, oh, play this number, play that number. This is another funny one you're going to appreciate. So here I am, I'm doing a party, and the hostess, she makes herself last, which most of them do. She makes herself last. So she's like the 10th or the 11th person. So her mother pulled through, and I'm communicating to her mother. And her mother said, and I said to her, your mother said to play 257. It's coming out. She goes, all right. She goes, once we're finished here, I'll have my husband go to the mini mart down the block and get a lottery ticket, play 257. I said, you got to play it for about a week. And she goes, okay. So her reading is over. We're walking down the hallway from the bedroom into the living room. And her husband's sitting on the ottoman in front of the TV set with the TV clicker in his hand. And she goes, honey, she goes, my mom pulled through. She goes, you got to go to the 7-Eleven and you got to play the number 257. It's coming out soon. And he goes like this. He goes, it's too late. It just came out on the TV. The lottery just came out 257. And she goes, shit. And I had to make myself last. Son of a gun. And so it was pretty funny.
Has there ever been a moment that has creeped you out or unsettled you during a reading, or by what a spirit has said to you?
I get a lot. See, I'm a very inspirational reader. When I usually read people, I will tell people bad news, but if I tell them bad news, I tell them how to overcome anything negative that might be coming their way if it comes to me. I've had people give me a lot of crap while I'm reading them because they said, no, 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 no. But that's why I always tell people, record your sessions, because a lot of times when I say things to them, you might not get it within the first day or two or a week or a month or even a year, but somewhere down the road, what I'm saying to you is usually going to come to pass. Not everything, but most things come to pass. So I'll give you an example of what happened. I'm reading for this one lady. As a matter of fact, this story I'm about to tell you is in my book called Angels and Answers. So you say you like good stories. This is a good story. So I'm reading for this one lady, and I'm looking at her mother's picture, because usually when I connect to people's loved ones, I ask them to give me a picture of that person. I don't always need it, but it's a good crutch for me. And it could be a picture of your grandfather when he was 3 years old. I don't care. I just want to connect to his energy. So I'm looking at, so her reading is over now, right? The half hour is up. And she goes to me. Now, I gave her some really good stuff, and I felt good about the reading, but she was like kind of anal. And she said to me, she goes, Art, I'm having a hard time actually believing you're actually talking to my mother. She goes, some things you told me were kind of general, could have to do with anybody, but I do admit that the things you told me, it did have to do with my mother. But then you also told me some specific things that no way you could have known that did have to do with my mother. But I'm still having a hard time that you're actually getting this information from my mother. And so I said to her, I can only tell you or share with you the thoughts and images that come to me. I don't create this stuff. Sometimes I think I do create it, but that would be my ego. But I said, it's given to me. I said, well, let me look at your mother's picture one more time. So I'm looking at her mother's picture. I said, your mom is showing me cows. She goes, well, what do you want me to do with that? I said, I don't know. Your mom is showing me cows. So in my eyes, mind, there was about 12 cows, and they're all standing up, and they're all going, moo. So I looked at her, and I go, I don't know why I'm doing this, but moo. And she started to cry. And I said, what's the matter? And she points to her mother's picture and she goes, that's her name. I go, what are you talking about? She goes, her name's Muriel, but everyone would call her Moo.
Nice. That's
So
great.
I said, there you go. Now here's her picture and get out. So I've told people a lot of deep stuff about their sex life. I've told people about their financial world, their health. You know, I'm no doctor, but I see people with the health and stuff. And, you know, I mean, I never went to college, but in my book, it says I went to the University of Maryland in Boston for 2 years, but that was just to visit my friends.
All right, I got one more question for you from the stuff that I had written down. What is one question, if any, as a medium, you get tired of being asked?
See, I would see, not as a medium, as a psychic, the most common question is usually about their love life. That's the most common. It's usually about love. What is something that as a medium that they ask? Give me a moment to think about that one. What is, you said the most common?
No, what is one question, if any, as a medium, you get tired of being asked?
Oh, big pet peeve, big pet peeve. And it's not even from a client, but it's from people who I personally know. I'll give them really good, solid information. I'll give you an example. Either a girlfriend or when I was married at the time, my wife would say, I would give them information. They would go, well, is that coming from you or is that coming from the spiritual world? I go, what difference does it make? It's great information. I said, don't ask me that question. You know, is it coming from you or the spiritual world? So if it's coming from me, you say, oh, that's just your thoughts. But if it's coming from the spiritual world, I'll listen to what you have to say. So I basically say, screw you. I'm not going to answer you then. You know, don't ask me the question.
That's good. I like that.
So that's one of my major pet peeves.
All right. It's time for the interview roulette segment.
Okay.
And I had you pick some numbers before we got started, and I'm going to ask you the questions based off those numbers. The first one is, if you could be a personal assistant to anyone, who would it be?
If I could be a personal assistant to anyone, who would it be? Could it be dead or alive?
Dead or alive?
John Lennon.
John Lennon? Why?
I think he is the most open-minded. He's a man ahead of his time. He saw things before most people did. Creative genius. I wouldn't call him perfect, but yet he lived his life his way. He lived his life his way, and he was he was a conviction of what he believed in. And I love his music. Love his music.
What is one thing you hope to do before you die?
It used to be go to Australia, but now that ship has sailed after I've heard all the crap happening in Australia.
Right.
What is one thing that I want to do before I die? Own a beach house right across from the ocean.
Okay. Any particular reason why, or you just love the ocean?
A healthy beach house that I could comfortably afford. I don't want just a beach house, but a beach house that I could comfortably afford. That's what I want. Because I love the water, being that I'm a Cancerian, born July 4th. And I always wanted to have a beach house. I mean, I visit friends who do have houses on the beach, and I appreciate it. But I would say another thing is to travel the country, travel the world, making a living at it, being able to speak. I always dreamed of also having my own sitcom. I always wanted to be a part of a sitcom. It doesn't have to be my own, but to be a part of a sitcom. That would also be a dream of mine. What I would want to do is to be a part of a sitcom. Yeah. Or like I said, to travel and get paid to be a public speaker, which actually I do at times, but I want to do it, more abroad.
Right. What is the most creative excuse to get out of doing something you didn't want to do that you've used?
What is the most creative? That one, I couldn't even tell you. I don't even know. Creative. Oh, the reason why I can't come over, the reason why I can't come over to your house, or the reason why I can't read you now, is because I have a meeting with a TV producer for a TV show.
You can't argue with that one.
Yeah, but actually that has happened. But then I've also used that as an excuse to get out of a situation. And they go, "Oh wow, okay." But it has been true. But I also use that.
Are there any shows you've played that stand out the most to you as memorable, like the most memorable?
Yeah. I was on New Jersey's most popular radio station. And it was the first time I was on the show. They've had me back after the first time. And they have, I think they have like close to 1 million followers or whatnot. So I was pretty psyched that I was able to be on that show. And so the interviewer, the guy who was the DJ, the most popular interviewer at that time, said to me, "So Art, what do you see for me? Who's around me right now?" And I said, "Is there any angels around me?" I said, I said, Moish is around you. He goes, "I don't have a Moish in my family." I said, "No, I see a Moish around you." So we went to a commercial break. And his wife called up during the commercial break and she said, "We have an Uncle Moish." And so we get back on the air. And so he goes, "Well, I just asked Artie, if I had any angels or any people hanging out around me who's watching over me." And he said, "Moish." And my wife just called during the commercial break, said, "We have an Uncle Moish." And so he goes, "And what Jewish family doesn't have an Uncle Moish?" And so that was pretty funny. That was one of the many memorable moments. I was on the very first time I was on another radio show in New Jersey, and he said to me, "So Art, do you have any winning lottery numbers?" And so I wasn't expecting a question like that. So right off the top of my head, I said, "Yeah, that's easy, 1073." And that was the TV station number. So I just said it just to be funny. I said, "Yeah, 1073." So the next day he emails me. He goes, "Art, I don't know if you were kidding or not when you told me 1073, but I played those numbers and you're only off by one number." So.
All right. I think I know the answer to this last one from the interview roulette. If you wanted to live off radar, where would it be?
I don't get the question. If I wanted to live off radar, where would it be? I don't get that question.
Okay, so like if you wanted to live off the grid, off the radar, just a quiet life, no connection to technology or anything like that, where would it be?
with no question, Jamaica.
Anywhere you can be in a beach house near the ocean.
That's right. Yeah, that's right, Mom. That's right, Mom. Anywhere where I could just chill out, relax, and just eat fresh fruit every day and be by the beach and the ocean. And I'm a happy camper.
All right. Well, you've piqued my interest, and I have to ask. I'm very much the take it as it comes. I don't really want to know my future. I don't really want to know what good or bad things are coming to me. I kind of roll with the punches as best that I can. But I have lost a few people that were very close to me, and I'm curious if they're still hanging around.
I feel like the person who's around you, I'm not getting the name, but I'm getting that there is somebody who's very around you that you always respected and always loved. And I would say she was almost like very Angelica around you. It's somebody who was just so serene and always had the right words to say to you, always knowing what to say to you. And I feel like this person who you looked up to, you just saw her differently than everybody else because she was such a loving, caring person and always in your corner, always had the right thing to say, or always willing to give you a hug, even though at times you might not have wanted it. But she was always just very pleasant. Is there someone by the name of Anne Marie, or Mary Ann? Anna
No,
Marie?
but
But I am getting the personality, if not the name, then I am getting the personality, because I'm definitely seeing somebody with light hair and was just very sweet, very angelic.
there are two women in my life that I have lost in the last 2 years. And if that could be either one of them, and they're actually one, they
Who is
are
the thinner of the two?
my
Somebody
grandmother, Virginia.
Virginia. Okay, it's her then.
Yeah,
It's her then.
she
That's
looked out
pulling
for
through.
me quite a bit.
Yep, that's her. That's her. That's pulling through.
Oh, it's good to know. Like I told you before, I'm a little sensitive myself. I don't know if I'd necessarily call it a gift, but I've my mother died last year, and since then the house has felt like there is a lot of people in it when it's not filled with people, if you get what I mean.
Right. Yeah.
And I've just assumed that it was my mother and my grandfather and my grandmother kind of popping in to check on us.
Yeah. No, it's very much so true, but especially your grandmother. 617, who's connected with 617 around January 17th, maybe January 6th, 7th, July 16th. I'm playing with 617 right around that time.
My
Somebody's birthday and
mother,
anniversary.
I believe, is 6'7".
Oh, it's 6-7,
Yeah,
June 7th.
I believe so. Yes.
Oh, okay. So that's her energy pulling through with those numbers. You might want to play those numbers too soon.
My luck, the lottery's already been pulled for the night. All right, Artie, I want to thank you for joining me. This has been a great chat. I have enjoyed every minute of it. And where
Thank
can
you.
people get your books if they so choose?
Oh yeah, I promise you, you're going to think that I wrote these books just for you. I mean, the books come with such information, and it's a very easy read, and it has really cool illustrations. If you go to artiehoffman.com or amazon.com, where you can get everything in the kitchen sink on Amazon, but it's called Angels and Answers, and then the other one is called Have Your Angels Call My Angels. If anybody wanted a private reading, whether it be in person, because I'm in New Jersey, or over the phone or FaceTime, you could always call me at 732-778-7173, or you can email me, artiehoffman@gmail, and that's ARTIEHOFFMAN, artiehoffman@gmail. And it was a great pleasure sharing time with you. Oh, and every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, I do free readings for the public. So if you join my Facebook live show Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time, like I said, people sign in. I have an assistant. She randomly picks questions because I have hundreds of questions during the show. It's an hour show. And I connect to people's loved ones, and I answer people's personal questions. You'll like this one. So a lot of times when girls will sign in and they'll say, "Hey, Artie, do you see me getting pregnant soon?" And I said, "Yeah, when you stop watching my show and get in the bedroom, your odds are going to go way up."
I also know too, you're trying to grow your TikTok fan base so you can get to 1,000 and be able to go live.
Yes, 100% true. I want to do live TikTok. So if you could please sign up to Artie Hoffman 7777. It's 5 sevens. Artie Hoffman 7777. If you sign up, I would appreciate it, because once I have 1,000, then I could do live shows there, and I want to do live video shows on TikTok. So, and I appreciate you mentioning that. And every single morning, if you want to be inspired, I always have beautiful inspirations on my Instagram, Artie Hoffman Instagram, or on my Facebook. There's beautiful messages that I send out to the public every day. Inspirational. One of my friends, you're going to like this one. One of my friends said to me, "Art, when it comes to life, everything's good in the end. And if it's not good, then it's not the end."
I like that. I know I came up with one years ago, and I try to live by it, and I get away from it sometimes, but mine is don't let your past fuck up your future.
That's a very good one. Point blank. And another one you'll like is, "The fire that's within me is greater than the fire that surrounds me."